Hello, my name is Zach Gibbs, and I'm a content developer within education services inside Juniper Networks. And today we will be going through the Troubleshooting Feed Uploads with Adaptive Threat Profiling Learning Byte. All right, so here is the criteria for our example. And I want to point out a few things in the topology first. We have SRX2 and SRX3. And also an EX device. We don't really need to worry about that. But what we do need to worry about is SRX2 is connected to the branch and SRX3 is connected to the data center. And ATP Cloud is obviously connected to the internet. And so that's how SRX2 and 3 are reaching ATP Cloud. SRX2 and 3 are already enrolled with ATP Cloud, and adaptive threat profiling is set up. And until now, it's been working really well. But we just noticed that although SRX2 is set and configured to upload adaptive threat profiling feeds to ATP Cloud, just recently those feeds are not uploading. And so we're not getting changes that are happening in the feeds being uploaded to the advanced threat profiling feeds in ATP Cloud. So what do we need to do? We need to figure out what's wrong and fix the problem if we can. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump to the CLI of SRX2 and start troubleshooting this. All right, so here is SRX2, and let's do the show services security intelligence sec profiling feed status command. And we can see, yeah, we definitely have a problem here. We have a feed called potentially bad that we can see the last post status is failed. Now, there's also another feed called definitely bad, and you'll see that the last post time is n/a, not applicable or not available, means one of those, and but that's okay. And that's because that is a feed that SRX2 is not uploading. So this command is just for feeds that are being posted to the ATP Cloud. So keep that in mind. And we can see here we have a last post status code of 0, status of failed. That's really bad. We don't want that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump to the ATP Cloud Web Interface and see what the feed shows there. All right, so here is our Cloud ATP Web Interface. And so let's go ahead and jump to Configure, and then we'll go to Adaptive Threat Profiling. And here we can see the different feeds. And the feed that we're concerned about is the potentially bad feed. We can see here we've got a lot of items in here. And I'm not going to point out anything specific, but just note that in this feed, there's a whole bunch in here. There's probably going to be a bit of a difference since SRX2 is not updating this feed. So let's go ahead and jump back to SRX2 and look what it has locally in its feed. All right, so here is SRX2. File show /var/db/secintelD/upload, and then the file name. It's going to start with the logical system and then the routing instance. In this case, it's the root logical system and the default VRF, and then the name of that feed. So we're going to have potentially bad. And it also shows IP in there, let you know it's an IP-based feed as well. And yeah, there's definitely a difference. Look at that. There's 8.8.4.4 and then 172.217.6.67. That's indicative of what we're seeing where the feed is not able to upload correctly, and so there's going to be a difference in that feed. Now, that's going to be a big problem, so we want to troubleshoot this further. So the next thing we can do is we can look at the logs to see if there's anything SecIntel related that can give us a direction on where to go. Put a match in there. Oh, we got a bunch in here. Okay, so let's just look at this last message. We'll focus on this. We can see here that it's attempting to access the Cloud Feeds URL for ATP Cloud. That makes sense. We can see the manifest. And then if we go to the very end, we can see on port 443 failed. Connection error. Could not connect to server. Well, if it's failing to reach the server on port 443, that means there's a connectivity issue. So where do we go from here? Well, if you recall, the SRX2 is connected to the internet, so it would be something upstream. So what is upstream of SRX2? Well, it's the internet, so it's the ISP that SRX2 is connected to. And so unless it's something on SRX2 that is blocking that connection, then there's a very good chance that it's something in the ISP or something even more upstream that is blocking that traffic. And so with our example in this Learning Byte, there were no changes made on SRX2, so it's definitely something that is upstream. And thankfully, since this is a Learning Byte and this is a lab, we have access to those, so-called internet routers or whatnot. And so let's jump there and see what's happening. All right, so here is our internet router. It's named VR for virtual router because it is split into multiple different virtual routers. Let's jump into configuration mode and have a look at the security policies here. And hey, would you look at that? There's actually a security policy that is blocking application Junos HTTPS, which, as you probably well know, the application statement is for layer 4 ports, and Junos HTTPS is for port 443. And so that would make sense. And obviously this is a lab, so this is something I did to show a troubleshooting issue, but you could have something upstream, an upstream device that is blocking that port for whatever reason, and that port needs to be open. So let's go ahead and deactivate that policy. Just deactivate all the global policies since that's the only one I have there. And great, it's been committed. So let's go ahead and jump back to SRX2 and see if anything has changed. All right, here is SRX2. Let's run that show services security intelligence sec profiling feed status command. And nothing's changed yet, but that's okay because it's on a timer. It's going to try to upload those feeds. I believe the timer is every 5 minutes. So I'm going to pause the video right now and I'll restart it after 5 minutes or so, and we'll have a look at this again. All right, so it's been a few minutes, so let's go ahead and run that command again. And that looks a lot better. Look at that. The feed that is called potentially bad has updated successfully, posted successfully, that is. And we can see a post status code of 200 and a last post status of succeeded. Perfect, that's what we want to see. Now let's have a look at the logs. You can see here that it only is showing those failed connection logs. And it's actually supposed to log, and this just might be something that just didn't show up in the logs. I might not have this log configured correctly since I'm just using the log messages. I'd have to look into that a little further, but you should see a second till success message. But for the fact that we're not seeing any additional messages, and we're seeing with the last command, I can run that again, that the feed did succeed successfully, I think we're in pretty good shape. And the other thing we can check is we can check the local file again. We can see that there are contents in that local file. They are being uploaded successfully, and so that's what we want to see right there. So that brings us to the end of this Learning Byte. In this Learning Byte, we demonstrated how to troubleshoot adaptive threat profiling, upload feed problems. So as always, thanks for watching.
Visit the Juniper Education Services website to learn more about courses. View our full range of classroom, online, and e-learning courses. Learning paths, industry segment and technology-specific training paths. Juniper Network's certification program, the ultimate demonstration of your competence. And the training community, from forums to social media. Join the discussion.